Episode 3, Write What You Know and Research the Rest. We've gone over several different ways to tell your life story. So how do you choose which one is right for you? You've probably already narrowed down the field to two popular options, memoir or a novel. So the first step, I always say, is reading. And frankly, this goes for anyone who wants to write anything, essays, poems, screenplays, novels. I can't tell you how many people come to me with manuscripts that clearly show that they haven't read much of whatever they're trying to write. So read different types of memoirs and autobiographical novels, or whatever else you're considering writing, and focus on reading good ones, the bestsellers, the prize winners, the classics. Read broadly in whatever interests you, and then read deeply in your specific topic. As you read, notice the elements that make the book stand out, how your story is similar to theirs, and most importantly, how your story is different. Also, notice what is the narrative thread that pulls all the events together, the overarching theme, the character arc and transformation, as well as how they deal with negative truths. I often find reading book critics' reviews can help along these lines. Critics often do that heavy lifting reading. After doing reading and you still haven't decided, make a pro and con list about each category as it pertains to your story. For example, consider maybe there's already a lot of memoirs in your topic field, but maybe not that many novels. Probably the most important factor, however, is what you feel most comfortable writing. Now, whatever style of book you choose, you're going to have to do research. To me, research is one of the fun parts of writing. It also helps you immerse yourself in the subject, which helps your writing be more authentic. For example, I wrote Girl on the Brink based on events drawn from my own life. But before writing, I read a number of different books on the topic of domestic violence. So I knew what I was portraying in the book wasn't a fluke. It was part of a well-documented cycle of abuse. By the time I finished my research, I had thorough knowledge of the topic, both from a personal and a professional point of view. That research validated both my own experience and that of my character, and it gave me confidence to keep going. Of course, if you're writing about something that isn't of your own experience, research is indispensable. My other novel, Skin of Tattoos, was inspired by interviews I did as a reporter with gang members in El Salvador and Los Angeles for various articles. The book tells the story of a gang member who wants to get out of the gang, but finds himself drawn even deeper into that life with some disastrous consequences. Even though I'd done interviews, I needed a whole lot more details, so I had to do a lot more research. Of course, the internet makes research so much easier than years ago. Here are a few sources that you might not have considered previously. Google Images, Earth, and Maps. The human memory is eminently fallible. You're trying to remember what a city looked like where you lived years ago. Try Google Images. People sometimes forget that there's a whole separate database of photos and pictures that you can access at the top of a Google search page. It's amazing what you can find there. Pictures are great for jogging your memory. You can also access maps of places all over the world using Google Earth and Google Maps. These can be great aids for getting street names right, juxtaposition of landmarks, and so on. I also use pictures to help motivate me. Writing a book is a long project, and I assure you, there will be times when you feel like giving up or giving in to procrastination. One trick I've learned is printing out pictures of what I'm writing about and pinning them on a bulletin board above my desk. It helps me get into the world I'm writing about as I sit at the keyboard and reminds me of my goal every time I walk by my computer and don't sit in front of it. YouTube is another great source. Maybe you need to hear accents or the vocabulary from a different country or culture and write about how something's done. You'll likely find a video about it on YouTube. Again, this can help bring back memories or lend verisimilitude to your story. TV shows, movies, and documentaries serve the same purpose. They can help you visualize scenes, such as foreign places in historical period. They can bring to life what people used to wear or say, things forgotten from long ago in our lives, Remember table lighters and ashtrays, anyone? Wikipedia is always terrific for getting a great general view of a topic, but if I'm diving deep into a subject, I scroll down to the footnotes on a Wikipedia article, which often contain links to the primary sources for the article. Those sources almost always have additional detail. Likewise, local newspaper archives can provide a lot of real-time detail. I also use Amazon as a resource. I search for books on a particular topic and use the Look Inside feature to see if they're worth reading. Sometimes I find just what I need from the Look Inside. And don't forget your local library. Look up their catalogs too. People are terrific sources. These may include family members and friends. Sit them down for an interview, record them, take notes. You'll find that people remember incidents and events quite differently from what you remember, sometimes radically differently. Or they'll recall things you can't remember at all, or their memories will jog yours. Go back to visit places if you can. You may also want to interview experts. Ask around your network for contacts. You can also look up professors at a local college, send an email explaining your purpose with your questions, or ask for a phone conversation if they have time. Their contact information is usually on their faculty page. If they're unwilling or don't have time, ask if there's someone else they can suggest. Be sure to tell them that you'll thank them in the acknowledgement sections of your book. Same goes with relatives and others. People are usually thrilled to have their names in a book. If you need more scientific type information, you can find research papers on all sorts of topics for free on academia.edu. Otherwise, they're available on subscription sites such as JSTOR. I've also found that sometimes professors and researchers will have their papers available on their faculty or personal web pages. If not, you can email them and politely ask for an PDF. Often, they're flattered that someone is interested. Many authors, including memoirists, list their resources in an author's note at the back of the book. That's a great way to find similar topics. By doing that, it also gives you, the author, credibility and shows that you've really done your homework. On to some more pragmatic topics. I'm often asked about the legal ramifications of writing about real people. There's plenty about this topic on the internet, so this is another subject you should research. But basically, if you're nervous about basing characters on real people or using real people, you might want to get their permission, ideally in the form of a written release. At the very least, alert them beforehand. I don't generally advise letting subjects read what you wrote about them, because then you'll end up negotiating with them. They'll want all the negative bits out. But of course, that decision is entirely up to you. Another option, you can consult a publishing attorney who will read your manuscript and advise you of any potential pitfalls. That's what I did with Girl on the Brink. I did end up tweaking a plot point slightly based on legal advice and not changing another point that I thought that even with my changes would be problematic, but the lawyer said I'd already altered it enough. Getting a legal opinion is an expensive option to be sure, but it did give me peace of mind and the confidence to proceed with my book. That was really invaluable. Song lyrics are another problematic item that people love to include in books, either as quotes on a chapter page or in the text. Music publishers are notorious for enforcing their copyrights. To use lyrics, you need to get legal permission called clearances. They're cumbersome, complicated, and not given for free. My rule is avoid the hassle. Lyrics are rarely indispensable to a story. Once you've got all the preliminaries down, you're ready to write your story. We'll cover that in the last episode.